haters are happy cause the team playing crappy. Give the Clippers a cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season around.
Keep it going, brother.
Wearing bags on their head cause the team's playing bad. Let the haters cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. TH had to spit, KB is to
Cut it. Get your microphone that you want to talk to. What did you just say, sir? What did you just say?
I forgot.
What did you just say? It's the wonderful time
It's
of
the
the
most
year.
wonderful time of the year.
This is I'm looking at these Laker haters. They are. Did you see the parade downtown? People was down there having a good time hating on the Lakers, man. I thought it was a good thing. So here we are. We was hoping that this moment would happen. At least I know I was.
Predicting.
I was certain of it.
Yes, predicting.
I was too.
Yeah.
And who are you, sir?
I'm Van Douglas, #1 Laker hater, aka Prophet. Called the Minnesota beating the Lakers before the series even tipped off.
I think a lot of people was doing that too. They said, hey, they have size. Lakers don't. That was one of the main things I was hearing more from the, from the sports people. They would say, oh, the Lakers don't have no size. They could have got swept if they wouldn't have won that other game.
See, here's the thing with Laker fans, especially longtime Laker fans, right? You know, as a longtime Laker fan, you know when you have a championship squad
Thank you.
and when you don't, okay? And the championships that the Lakers have won, you've always had great centers, from Mikan to Kareem to Wilt to Shaq. Okay? So if you count up all the championships that you got, Mikan with 5 in Minnesota, you got Shaq with 3, Kareem with 5, and then you got Wilt with 1.
Yeah.
So you
That's
got
14,
about
yeah.
14 championships with those guys at center.
They're
Right.
big, yeah.
So my question to Laker fans is the ones that know basketball. How did you figure y'all was gonna go through the West with no bigs?
So you mean 3 Laker fans then? The ones who know basketball?
The
3.
ones who
You
know
mean-
basketball,
so 3
they know where I'm
So
coming
you mean
from.
three
you
Laker
got
fans?
that.
But the rest of them don't
you
know
breaking that down.
Exactly my
basketball.
point, yes.
And it's like, okay, it's okay to be a fan, but at the same time, if you being realistic, you didn't have it. And
Yeah.
like Charles Barkley said about Luka, he said Luka can't guard a chair. Okay? I mean, I'm looking at the series and LeBron. Now, it was announced after the series was over
I can't
that he had a sprained
MCL.
this MCL in that game. So I said, well, if the Lakers had won game 5, was he playing in game 6 with a sprained MCL?
No,
According to reports, no.
no. He would have, and that would have actually broke his streak of consecutive playoff games that he's played.
Dwight, Mo Punches from Carson. That's what was reported because the series was over. If the series had continued, LeBron would have played.
You think he would have played?
He
Of
would have
course.
played.
I feel that way too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the knee injury gave him an excuse as to why he didn't do like Houston's trying to do, come back from a 3-1.
And that's another
Yeah.
thing with LeBron.
Yeah.
It's always when he loses, it's someone else's fault
Whose fault was it?
or his injury.
Yes.
It's always an excuse.
Yes.
Always an excuse.
Always
It's
an
always
excuse.
an excuse.
And
which
just
is-
going back to Van's earlier point, the only thing I want to say is Rudy Gobert.
Yeah,
Size.
Rudy Gobert.
Size.
I mean, and he's got, just put it this way, and I was trying to tell him, I said, you guys can say what you want to say about AD. Gobert wouldn't have dominated AD like that. Okay?
And to add to that point, Gobert the entire series wasn't really much of a like actual factor as a scorer. He was your main factor on the defensive board in the offensive rebounds. But literally throughout the first 4 games, he wasn't putting up like prime Shaq numbers, which is what Game 5 made Rudy Gobert look like. He looked like prime Shaq getting a 2020. In a 2020, but what he did show was he learned from last year.
Absolutely.
He learned from last year from what Luka did to
Put it
him
on him, boy.
on multiple occasions. Had him in an
ice
ISO
skate, yeah.
and had him on
On skates.
skates.
Yes.
But he learned from that, was able to actually make better defense on Luka. But this also comes back to Luka. You need to lose some weight. You need to get in shape.
This is Hugh from Boston. I think he was a big deterrent in the first 4 games.
Yes.
Yes,
That's cool.
because I
Didn't
was
run up any stats, didn't do anything, but he was there, got the offensive rebounds, and he was a big deterrent.
right. Because let's just put this out there: Minnesota did not shoot that well.
Minnesota had the worst 3-point shooting percentage of all time. They were 7 for 47 or something like that. I think they were 7 for 47.
Yeah, they
beat
shot
Houston.
terrible in that Game 5.
That's
You
why
know what?
offensive rebounds were great. Yeah.
This is Van Douglas, #1 Laker hater. You know what opened up Gobert in Game 5?
JJ Redick.
No,
Yes.
the Lakers were trapping Ant all over the floor.
JJ Redick's decision.
I like
Had
that.
no rim control.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, okay,
But I'm the
JJ
coach.
Redick
He made
Yeah.
2 decisions
The
in Game
coach.
5.
But the thing is, he trapped Ant-Man.
Yes.
Right? So you ain't got no size.
Yes,
And you got
that's-
Gobert under there.
Yes.
So how you trapping out on the perimeter and
Thank you.
leaving Gobert alone at the rim? That's
Thank
where
you.
he got all his. He had like 8, 9 dunks in that game.
Yes. Yes.
You just called it.
Yes, I did. And my friend called me. I mean, he contacted me immediately after the game to tell me Lakers have no size, they're slow on the perimeter, and JJ Redick's not a good coach.
Okay.
So I'm going to focus on the last of those. That was dumb because why are you? Ant was 0 for 11 for 3. Why are you? He's settling for threes. By the middle of the third quarter, by the beginning of the third quarter, I'm gonna let him shoot. He hasn't proven he can make a shot, and you continue to try to take the ball out of his hands, and Gobert is killing you.
Literally, your main threat on the outside, last time I checked, was McDaniels, DiVincenzo, and Reed. If you're talking about getting the ball out of Ant's hand, why are you doubling Ant when he's shooting piss poor?
Yes.
Literally, all of his buckets were literally from him driving to the paint and getting to the free throw line. Otherwise, he was doing nothing.
Nothing.
They
Literally,
doubled him.
the main person that would kill you consistently was Julius Randle.
That's another thing. See, they doubled and trapped Ant-Man. They call themselves Randall and Ant-Man. Both of them was killing them. So they sold out to try to take one away. And then like I say, when you sold out to take Ant out of it, Gobert sitting at the rim.
Yes.
8 dunks in one game.
Yes. And you think you would have figured out again by the third quarter that who's the person who's really killing us? Gobert won the game. I know Randall had a nice game, but Gobert was 27 and 24.
And I said,
And 4 blocks? Yeah.
I said before the series started, I said, Julius Randle, ex-Laker, Lakers just threw him away like trash. And I said, he's coming for revenge. He got his
She
revenge.
got it. She got it.
And the thing about it is, what impressed me about Randall played with a purpose. And Randall was able to bang LeBron. LeBron couldn't bully him down there on the block. And so you seen all of the threes LeBron was settling for. That was because Randall wasn't having it down there on the block.
This is what happens when you play LeBron out of the position he wants to play.
Yeah.
Like AD, he doesn't want to play a 4. He wants to play 3, and he said that after the post game interview. I'm not going to talk about it. The last person to talk about wanting to have a center got moved out of LA. So yeah, at 250, you're 260, whatever you are. have a huge advantage on threes, not so much on fours. So he learned that it is not easy in the post, not in the NBA.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
You know-
The one thing that I don't think we really talked about was the Lakers shot 29% from the three. They shot 42% from the field, and they shot 76% from the free throw line. Minnesota got to the free throw line way more, and they shot 72%.
Well, you know why Minnesota got to the line like that?
Yeah, because
Randall.
Because let me actually go over that, because Dorian Finney-Smith fouled out. Luka Doncic had 4 fouls. Austin Reeves had 4 fouls, and he didn't really show up this entire series at all. Gobert, he shot 3 for 6. McDaniels was 4 for 4. Julius Randle was 6 for 7 from the line. Rudy Gobert was 3 for 6. Mike Conley was 2 for 2. Ant was 5 for 8.
Well, you know, Minnesota focused on taking the ball to the basket, okay? And they forced the officials to blow the whistle. Forced them to, because everything Randall did, Randall hit some threes, but when Randall decided to go to the basket and stuff, he forced them to call a foul. Same thing with McDaniels. Same thing with Ant. Every time Ant went to the hole, there were several times when Ant went to the hole, got
they
fouled,
wasn't
and they
fouled.
didn't call him. You know, but Minnesota just took it to the Lakers, like I said they were, and the reason they were able to do it was because they had the size,
Okay.
and they had
Minnesota
youth.
also outcoached the Lakers.
And that's where I was
Yeah.
going with it, because no punches from Carson. If you see the tallest person on the court, who's not over 40, is 6'8". Maybe it's Rui at 6'9", whatever. But if you see the tallest person on the court is 6'9", small forward, for the opposition, would it be bright to go to the hole, or would it be not bright? Would it be bright to go to the hole, or would it be bright to take threes? So if I'm Chris Finch, what am I going to tell my players if I'm a good coach?
Go to the hole.
Thank you. If I'm JJ Redick, am I going to give him an open invitation to score on me? Yes, because I'm JJ Redick. That was the trick question. Yeah, that's my point. JJ Redick was never the coach they should have had if they were serious about winning a championship, because there were resources, and I usually hate Kendrick Perkins, but Kendrick Perkins actually made a good point about players that were available. Made the point in 4. I mean, you had to do what you got from Miami. If Austin Reeves is playing poorly, play the kid from Miami, the point guard they got from Miami. You have Gabe Vincent. I'm not going to talk about Connect. I'm going to leave that on the sideline. But you have the left-hander you got from Minnesota, who's a 6'9" guy who can actually maybe kind of help you. At least he can help you in the post. So you have at least 2 other players you could have played. And you may have decided to play Jackson Hayes a few minutes just to make Rui
He didn't even
think
play.
about it. He didn't play. No, he played small. That's what I'm saying. JJ played small. He invited Minnesota to win a game they should have lost. How do you shoot 7 for 47
I tell you what,
and still win that game?
it's going to be a miracle if Jackson Hayes is on that team next year. I can see him not being there.
It'd be a miracle for Jackson Hayes still in the league next year.
That's my point. That's my point. You know. So my thing is, I'm not gonna say that he's not servable. He's servable with the right team. You know what I'm saying? If I could take Jackson Hayes, put him on Detroit with because they need some size up on the front line, and you ain't talking about for him scoring, just protecting the rim and rebounding. Okay, there's some place in the league that somebody will pick him up, but I don't think he'll be with the Lakers next year.
Okay. More punches from
Well,
Carson.
let me stop that on that point. What other player do you think might not be with the Lakers next year? I mean,
Oh, I got a good
All
one.
except for 5.
I got a good one. Austin Reeves.
Really?
Yeah. I'll
He's
tell
under
you why.
contract, but you think Reeves won't be there?
I'll tell you why. Okay. the Lakers, they need size, right?
Yes.
How many big men out there are free agents? Ain't a lot. So if they really want to get a big man, and I said it, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit if the Lakers made a run at Clint Capella and tried to get him from Atlanta.
For Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves and maybe Austin Reeves and Hashimura.
That sounds more passable, yes.
Hugh
Okay.
from Boston. Who else does the Lakers have to trade?
They have one piece that they can trade, and
They don't even have draft picks they can trade. There's really nobody on that roster.
Except for Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
You know, they have a piece they can trade. And he is both bigger and shoots the ball better than Reeves. We ain't talking about defense, but he's a bigger dude, so he gives you better matchup options.
Who's
And he
that?
did not play in this series at all.
Who?
The rookie, Dalton Connect. The piece that I think anybody looking at LA is saying, that's the piece I want. Austin Reeves, we just sat here and said, Austin Reeves proved to you what he's going to do in the playoffs. Because last season it was D'Angelo Russell's the problem, Austin Reeves the solution. Before that it was Russell Westbrook's the problem, D'Angelo Russell's the solution. So it's like, yeah, whenever you put in a role, it exposes what you can and cannot do.
Whenever you look at
Yeah.
you look at Austin Reeves and you look at Dalton Connect, and you say, well, what's the difference between? There's not much of a difference between those two people. You
2
know,
inches, 20 pounds, and about 10 points in three-point shooting.
neither one of them play defense.
How much
Neither
experience?
one
Yeah.
of them play defense. So that's what I mean. It's like there's a difference.
But you get more size with Connect, which means he's a better matchup. So he may be able to keep people like Reeves could not keep people out of the post because he's too small. Connect, 20 pounds heavier, 2 inches taller, makes it more of a physical challenge to post up. So he's more of a big guard, small. Well, actually, a big guard, small forward, as opposed to Reeves, who is a true 2 guard at best, and he's not strong at all. So
How long has Reeves played? How many years?
4 or 5 years, I think.
And how many years has Connect played?
This was his first year. He's a rookie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
The
you
whole
don't.
point.
Thank you.
Connect might be a whole lot better in a couple of years. And
Then-
Reeves,
And I think
he's overdone.
he's overdone. And so for me personally, I would chase Connect as opposed to Reeves because Reeves has proven to me what he is. And if you're telling me that he's an all-star caliber player, then I want him. But if you're telling me he's an overrated player who's getting a $100 million contract, then I'm like, you can keep him, Lakers.
Okay.
Whatever deal the Lakers make to try to get a big, Reeves are they're gonna have to put Reeves in the deal. Okay? They're gonna have to put Reeves in the deal. Okay? So that's why I say he may not be a Laker next year because the Lakers are gonna have to trade to get a big. It ain't like a free agent big out there that they can go get that's gonna make a big difference. Now, another thing that's gonna bite them in the behind is the Mark Williams trade, right? The Lakers tried to trade right now for Mark Williams. Trust me, Reeves will be in that deal. Okay? Because they're gonna ask for Reeves.
Now, but when they asked, they were willing to take Cam Reddish and Dalton Connect if the Lakers had accepted the trade because it was the Lakers that nixed that trade. Because the Lakers are bright when it comes to basketball, obviously. Okay.
The Lakers, the bottom line is this here, and I was telling them, I said, if you look at the Lakers and look at their history, they're superstar chasers.
They are superstar
They're
chasers.
superstar chasers. I mean, I'm gonna use Boston as an example. Every player on the Boston team right now, as we speak, was drafted. Tatum,
Yeah.
Grant Brown.
Brown, their two core guys were drafted and they developed, right?
Drew Holiday and White were trades.
They traded to get Holiday and they traded to get Derek White. Okay, But, you know, when they talk about face of the league and this and that and this and that, the Lakers had a chance to get Jason Tatum, but instead they picked Alonzo Ball. Okay? So, Magic, come out of hiding because that was your pick.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And look at Tatum with Boston. Lonzo Ball ain't even with the Lakers no more.
Yeah.
Come on, Magic.
Good
Come
point,
out of
good point.
hiding.
Good point. Good point.
So if you look at the Lakers, they bank on superstars. Now here's the funny part. Now they talking about who we gonna get Giannis. How you gonna get Giannis?
Yeah, that would be. They have to trade the whole team to get Giannis.
How you gonna get Giannis? You
Trade
gonna
LeBron.
put Luka in the trade? If you trying to, if ain't no way. First of all, ain't no way in hell you gonna trade for Giannis, because you'd have to put Luka in the deal. LeBron's too old.
The money would work. LeBron resigns for the max. The money would work.
Well, do you like Hugh from Boston? Do you like Giannis better than Luca?
No.
The Laker. Is
The
that a
age
question
and
for the
the
Laker
skill
fans?
set.
So the age is probably the
That's
problem.
that's for the Laker fans, right?
That's for the Lakers fans.
All right. Okay.
Luka better get in shape. Okay? Because this is what I mean. If you ain't in shape and you can't guard nobody, right? You're gonna get old real quick. Okay? You're gonna get old real quick. It's like, okay, he's a hell of an offensive player. We've seen that. But he can't guard nobody. Luka reminds me of remember the San Diego Chargers with Fouts and Eric Coryell and all of them?
Yeah, I love that. I love that team. I
And that
got Sterling in that team.
offense could light the scoreboard up, but they couldn't stop nobody.
Yeah.
Well, that's the definition of Luka.
That's basically the Cincinnati Bengals, where like
This season, yes.
yeah,
This season with the Bengals.
Yes.
Even with my Kansas City Chiefs when they had Trent Green quarterbacking and Priest Holmes and all of them. Light the scoreboard up, but couldn't stop nobody. You put up 38 points in a playoff game and you lose.
Okay, more punches from Carson. I'm enjoying the Lakers' loss. I'm just going to preface it with that. We can discuss the Lakers. I think Hugh is right. I'm going to say all this, that the Lakers are in a tough spot. This also puts a smile on my face, but the NBA team seems to bail out the Lakers whenever they're in a tough spot. That's giving me a little bit of a worry because they have a history of doing that. But it's not like Luka's flaws weren't known when he was in Dallas.
Well, I'm
So
I'm
I
glad
said all
you-
that to say that. Yeah.
I'm glad you
Okay.
brought that up.
Yeah.
You know who has to be the person who took all that heat
Is the person
on the
right
Luka
now-
trade?
Yeah.
Nico should be fired. Fire her, Nico. Okay.
So what you're saying is Nico looks like J. Cole now.
Nico looked like a damn genius.
Okay, I got you.
If Kyrie Irving didn't get hurt, if Kyrie Irving didn't get hurt, Dallas may still be playing right now.
Dallas
And
would
if
be
AD wasn't started too quickly when they
Yeah.
traded him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because actually I thought that for the first year Dallas got the best of the deal.
I still
With
think
AD.
after what I saw in the playoffs, Dallas still got
They
the
did.
best of the deal.
They did. You
Because
look at it.
you got a guy who was out of shape. What did Nico say when they traded him? He out of shape. He missed about a month because of the calf. Same calf. He doesn't play defense. And then so, well, he led them to the NBA Finals. Yeah, and if y'all don't knock it off with that, my thing is this here. They act like Luka beat Minnesota in the conference finals last year by itself. Kyrie Irving was there. You had
Derek
Lively
Lively
there.
was there.
PJ
Gafford,
Washington,
yep.
Gafford. See, if the Lakers had Gafford and Lively on their team right now, the
It'll be a
Lakers
different-
might still be playing. But the thing is, they they put, oh, Luka just did this and Luka did that. Luka did Luka this, Luka that, right? Fire Nico. Well, it looked like Nico knew what he was doing. Looked like Nico knew what he was talking about. And everybody with that fire Nico, where they at now?
Not good.
You know what they should be saying? Fire Palinka, fire Palinka.
Because that's the real issue, as Hugh has said. You say year one, Mo from Carson. Year one, Dallas had the advantage. What's going to change for the Lakers next season?
Nothing.
What's going to change for the Lakers the year after that?
Nothing.
LeBron may retire. That's going to be the only thing that will change. And so, unless LeBron leaves, the Lakers are stuck. Dallas, I think,
For
has
years.
flexibility for years. So, who got the better of that trade? I know you got an all-star, and you are an all-star chaser. So you got what you wanted. You did get Luka. But Dallas has flexibility, and presumably, Kyrie comes back from the injury because surgery is wonderful in this era. So presumably he comes back. You're gonna have AD. You're gonna have a relatively young team. You're gonna have draft picks to build around those two guys.
Well, I got one even better for you. Okay. And I called in the 710 last week.
And they let you through.
Who are you on 710? You just
I'm Van Douglas. I don't say Laker hater. Or
Okay,
nothing.
But they should know you by now, man.
Well, actually, I say TC. I use my nickname TC from Los Angeles.
Okay, very good. All right.
Okay.
Excuse me,
So,
Dan. Can I ask what time do you usually call in? 'Cause sometimes I listen
I
to the way
call
home.
when Ireland and Michael Thompson is on. Because
Okay.
I roasted Michael Thompson. I said, Michael Thompson, I roasted them both. I said, you guys are the ones to blame for the Laker fans' misery. Because you guys, especially you, Michael Thompson, you played the game. You know the game. When you was winning championships with the Lakers, you had Kareem. Okay? When you won championships, he won his championship with the Lakers. You had Kareem. Okay? You had size. Right? Michael Thompson, you of all people being a big man, should have known better. But you're on the radio, oh, Lakers will get them. Lakers are this, Lakers are that, Lakers are this.
Yeah,
And
but
then-
Van, you from Boston. I mean, you got to be realistic.
Then-
Michael and
that's-
Ireland are paid by the station to
right.
promote it, and sometimes you'll get Ireland even saying that. They don't have their own opinion. They got to shoot the company line.
But I hear what you're saying, Hugh, and you're absolutely right. But it's that same thing that you just said that causes all of the disillusion with
Among
the
Laker
Laker fans.
Yes, the Laker
Yeah, but
fans.
that's
see
the
what I'm
Laker
saying?
fans' problems.
Yeah,
That's-
but
They're
I'm
not
with-
knowing the game.
And they'll call in.
Yes.
I hear these guys call into the station. Oh, we're gonna come back and win it. We're okay. We're gonna come back and win it.
Yeah, that's what they all
and,
say.
and John Ireland, 5%. Who's with me?
Well, I like John Ireland as an announcer, and actually I like Michael Thompson as the color guy, but John Ireland lost me when he told me all about how Bill Russell started with the Celtics after the 1960 Olympics. Missed by 4 years.
Okay, but you know,
Sorry, John.
But you know,
Doesn't cut it.
Michael Thompson, and I told Michael Thompson, I said, a lot of this is your fault with this Laker delusional Laker fans. They get it from y'all. They listen to y'all every day around the clock, and you guys are not talking X and O's and this, that, and the other. Michael Thompson, like I said, you know full well you can't win with no big man.
Yeah, but they're both, I mean, realistically, they're cheerleaders,
Yeah.
but that's part of their job.
And he couldn't even say nothing.
Yeah.
He couldn't even say nothing. I said, Mike, you had Kareem. I said, this Laker team right now, I said, They don't even have Andrew Bynum.
Well,
Let me shift back for a second. Hugh from Boston about Luca. And I don't know the answer, but he's not known for making clutch shots.
Luca?
Right.
He's made
He's
some.
more, I don't know if he has or hasn't, but
He has,
to me, he
yeah.
kind of pads his statistics a bit.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of free points. He always gets around 25 points.
I can tell you why you can say he can make clutch shots. Exactly the reason why Rudy Gobert was motivated this season. He lit Rudy Gobert up a couple times in the Western Conference Final last year, and he lit the Clippers up a couple times too the year prior to that. And so yeah, he has made he's an offensive only player. He has honed his offensive skill. He comes to play on the offensive end, and he irritates you because he makes shots that you don't think are humanly possible.
But is he a go-to guy?
I'm including, like I said, the step back on Rudy, the step backs on Rudy, the going to just making Rudy Gobert a defensive player of the year look silly. Making the Clippers at time look silly. Yeah. So he's made some shots. So I can't take that away from him. But he's gonna put your team in a position where he's gonna have to make those shots in order to win the game. So, yeah. And if he doesn't stop you enough, you're gonna be out of the game before. And that was the problem with the Lakers. They just couldn't keep it close. Now, this season, because he had no depth, and this is if you look at Luka historically, they could rest. Play Kyrie last year, for example, so he could rest. So in the fourth quarter, he was fresh. Sure. This season, you could count on it. Clockwork. Second half, he's going to start hot. Second half, you're going to see that productivity drop off. And so because they only had 7 guys at best, that they really want to play 8 if you could throw Hayes in there, this Lakers team exposes a problem with Luka because he's not in shape. He doesn't have endurance. He's not in shape. So he's going to wear. Yeah, but I cannot say that he cannot make a clutch shot.
All right.
I can say that there is a player on the Laker team that is known for not making clutch shots, and he did not disappoint.
okay.
LeBron.
LeBron
Give me a
James.
name.
Yeah.
Put that name out there again. brother, so they can-
LeBron Pseudo King James.
Okay, question for the group. Where's LeBron going next year?
If he leaves the Lakers, that's a good question.
Well, I asked the group, y'all the best.
Who's going to pay him $50 million?
He'll take a pay cut.
Will he?
Really?
When has
I
LeBron
would
ever
be
taken a pay
shocked
cut?
if he
For
took
a
a
ring,
pay
he
cut.
will.
I'll put it to you like this. LeBron, and don't be surprised, LeBron takes a pay cut
Pay cut.
to stay with the Lakers. He leaves money on the table to stay with the Lakers. And then the Lakers go get Capella out of Atlanta. And if he,
Do the numbers work? How much would he have to leave on the table?
I don't know if Capella's a free agent or what's happening with him, but if he's a free agent, then the Lakers all they have to do is sign him. But if they have to trade for him, then that's a whole different issue.
Right.
That's a whole
I don't have a
different
clue
issue.
which way. I have no idea if he's a free agent or not. But I think we haven't walked around it, but I think really a big part of the problem this year was also the coach. The
Now-
Lakers had a rookie coach.
Now the question is, when you talk about where LeBron may go or whatever,
You got to chase the ring, bro.
Golden State can't pay him $50 million because they
And
paying
they have
Steph.
nothing to trade for him. Brother
Yeah.
Kuminga.
Yeah. So I'm looking at shit. The bigger question is, I think LeBron is going to take less and leave some money on the table, and to help the Lakers go get a big, and he'll be there next year. And because that's the only way I can see him really making
Competing.
a true run at a big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, instead of getting paid $50 million, maybe he takes 35.
Okay, I think Nick Wright, Will Carlson, actually spoke about this because the Lakers are a second apron team. Even if LeBron he'd have to take take 8-10 million, to get below the second apron. Even then, what would they be able to offer a free agent? So it's not like they're going to attract. I don't think there's a scenario in which money is going to attract a free agent to.
Well, Capella wouldn't demand big money.
Okay, so he'd have to be the person they want to get would have to want to come to LA. And what I heard from a Laker fan who lives next door to me is I've noticed that not a lot of people want to play basically with LeBron James. And I will say I have noticed that too. So I think it is known that LeBron is a glory hog. And not many players, as a consequence, want to sacrifice their egos to play with him.
Well, I know.
Nicely put.
Yes, okay.
Very nicely put, Mo.
I know Kawhi Leonard didn't. Durant didn't.
Yes,
There's several others that didn't.
yes.
But let's get real. This is LeBron's team.
Kyrie.
They've got to lose their identity to play for the Lakers.
But
LeBron's there, no matter how long he lasts.
Thank you.
But I'll tell you what. There's two other guys all summer long that pay attention to Houston, pay attention to OKC. This is where I'm going with this. Giannis could end up in Houston if Milwaukee decides to trade him.
That
Houston
seems
has
likely,
the draft picks, and they have
Both teams
stuff
have the
they
draft
can send
picks,
to
yes.
them.
Yeah.
OKC, the same thing.
Yeah.
They got the draft picks, and they got players they can send
Yeah.
there. If you took Giannis and put him with SGA, doesn't matter what the Lakers do.
Well,
Honestly,
yeah,
it does.
that would really do well with OKC.
Yeah.
That's 3 years of Mo Punch. That is 3 years of dominance in OKC. That is the problem solved because you have toughness up front that they don't currently have because Chet Holmgren he may be many things, but he is not tough. But yeah, that would make OKC very difficult. I would not deny that. That would make him very difficult. I think the same would be true of Houston, and they have enough players that they could trade current players and picks and still be pretty solid. Because they're 7-8 men deep. So they could trade 2 or 3 players and a pick.
Speaking of Houston, right? Let's go around the panel. We got a game 7 tonight.
Yeah.
We got a game 7, right? Golden State was up 3-1.
Yep.
And now it's 3-3. Game 7 is in Houston.
Yep.
Houston has a size advantage
Yep.
on Golden State, and they finally started using it
Yep.
the last 2 games. Sangoon is a beast,
Yep.
okay? They don't have no answer for Sangoon. Draymond gets in foul trouble when he guards him, okay? So go around the panel. Who you got?
I'm going to start. I'm going to start only because I want to make a correction. I don't think Şengün is the biggest problem that Golden State has. And you see this whenever they do their first rotation.
I know
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Steven Adams
Yeah, I was
is the
getting ready
big
to say the
headache. Because
same
once
thing.
they can go big with the guy they had last year, the 6'10" guy. But once they go big with Adams and Şengün, now they have a matchup problem.
Yeah.
Because this is where Steve Kerr's ego gets in the way. Because he will not play Looney against Adams. He refuses.
He won't play Kaminga either.
And there's a reason for him not playing Kaminga. But Looney has won championships with you.
Yes.
So I'm like, so why won't you play Looney against Adams and play Draymond against Şengün? Because that's the best option you have.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
don't be surprised if Looney's in there tonight.
He better be because they don't. Honestly, Looney and Trace Jackson Davis, because Trace Jackson Davis is going to be able to shoot, but he's your only vertical threat at the big. And so I'm like, look, if he can give me 5 minutes where he's an offensive threat and that will free up Steph Curry, I'm going to play him. But he refused to do any of that in Golden State. I'm just sitting here looking like, you really don't want to win this series.
All right, and then to add to that, when it comes to the Golden State Houston series, they tried to do the Hack and
that didn't
Adams,
work.
and
Yeah.
like that that didn't work out at all
I
for
was
them.
going to say that was a good point because I would say when you start doing the Hacker Adams,
That's showing you
you're
can't
trying
match
to
up.
force
Yeah.
you're trying to force Udoka to take him out the game.
Yes.
Which he's
Okay.
not gonna do that. He was like, you know what? If
But he had the
if
luxury
y'all
of
going
it.
to put y'all players in foul trouble, all right, cool. Like,
Which is what happened. He put Post in foul trouble.
right. So yeah.
So basically, what he did was the Hacker Adams didn't work because Houston had a double-digit lead. Right, and I was saying that the Hacker Adams is not going to work because if the game was close,
Then
he'd have
pressure
took
would-
Adams out the game if the game was close. But because they had a double-digit lead, he rolled with it.
Yeah. Well, he did get Steven Adams to miss 2 free throws once, but because of the way they lined up, Şengün just got an offensive rebound and put it back.
Yeah.
I mean, you're watching them continuously make these erroneous plays. In the start of the fourth quarter, GP2 gets lost. Van Fleet is open for a 3. He ends up fouling him in the 4-point play, and that was the end of that game.
And-
because that 4 points was half of the difference.
Right.
So,
And
but yeah,
and then we also gotta go into Draymond versus Dylan Brooks. Who's gonna give you a technical? Who's gonna give you a flagrant?
I think that it'd be Draymond.
Yep.
Draymond, especially if Golden State falls behind,
Yep.
and he gonna act a fool. Okay.
We
And-
saw it literally like he did that frame 1 in the first quarter.
Yep.
Frame
Got them out of sync.
frame 1,
Sitting
literally
watching it.
But now,
literally knocked Jalen Green upside his head, and he didn't play right ever since.
well, I'm gonna tell you this, right? When people question Steph Curry, my thing with Steph Curry is Houston may be the best team in the league at guarding Steph Curry. He's still getting his 30. Still.
And literally,
He
but
might have to take more shots to get the 30.
and he took a lot of shots.
But the thing is, they have a way of slowing Curry down or forcing him to take tough shots. And that's all you could do with Curry.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think that, you say, well, Golden State has all the playoff experience. And Houston, this they really first playoff run. But to me, the experience thing doesn't matter because if you got all the playoff experience, why the hell did you blow a 3-1 lead?
I can tell you why.
Tell us, brother.
It wasn't Şengün. It's not the new pieces. Even though Dylan Brooks, there are 3 pieces on that Houston team that have a lot of playoff experience. One has a championship. 2 come from Memphis. One OKC through Memphis through OKC. And so those 3 pieces are what's really causing the biggest headaches. The former rookie, I forgot his name, but he was the 3rd pick last year. He made some big shots.
Yeah.
But really, it was Van Fleet. Once
forgot about him.
Once Van Fleet started making shots, he changed the entire defensive scheme.
And he started and he started pulling up from the logo, just disrespectful.
Launching.
He was being disrespectful.
And the fact that they would not respect Van Fleet, like GP2, do what Houston does with Steph. Don't pay attention to anybody else. If you shut him down, now it's just Şengün. But since they would not respect Van Fleet, he lit him up.
He went
and
six-
that opened up everybody else's offense.
He went
tell
6
you
for
what,
9. He went 6 for
He
9.
was killing them.
Literally,
Like I said, he got
though-
lost in the 4th quarter.
Literally-
How do you lose the guy who's made 5 threes at this point? How do you lose him?
Literally, the one person that they could have left open was Jalen Green.
Just leave Jalen
Yeah.
Green open. Exactly.
Leave
I
Jalen
tell
Green
people-
open because literally he went 1 for 6, 3 for 11 from the field. He's been doing terrible
He's been doing nothing.
this series.
And they continue to let Van Fleet and Şengün beat them. The guys I'm not going to let beat me, Şengün and Van Fleet. Now, again, Dylan Brooks has made shots. So I can't knock Dylan Brooks. But those 2 guys have been killing you. They have been
Well,
killing you.
another thing in this series is when you look at this series, second chance points.
Steven Adams.
Yep, Steven Adams.
Steven Adams.
Steven Adams and Sengun,
So-
because Sengun had 3 offensive rebounds. Steven Adams had 3 offensive rebounds himself.
But Steven Adams block shots on the other end changed the offense.
Yeah,
Shengun
because-
is not going to block shots. Steven Adams is like a beast. He's a monster.
Oh yeah,
So you see that big 6'11" frame looking at you like, oh, here he goes. He can actually leap.
and he's a very nice person because he hugged Jimmy Butler trying to stop him from getting in a fight
With Torrey Eason or whatever. It was.
no with
The Thompson twin.
Yeah,
Thompson twin.
yeah, with Amen.
I forgot about the Thompson guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I forgot about Thompson.
Thompson was killing. I mean, they can't match up with his feet. So if you ask me, I think Kerr has. I won't say like the most disappointing coaching job. Well, it wasn't disappointing because I didn't think JJ was horrible. But the most disappointing coaching job has been the Clippers. But Steve Kerr has, at times during the season and for many seasons, had you scratching your heads about some of the decisions he made. It's like you do know who's hurting you. Well, he tried to make a decision to shut down Van Fleet last game, except that GP2 didn't pay attention to the assignment. Your job is to stay in Van Fleet short. You don't care about anybody else. He didn't take that seriously. So, me personally, I think Golden State had their chance to win this. They didn't take Game 5 seriously. They banked everything on Game 6. And if you bank everything on a game that you don't win, I don't like your odds in Game 7.
Well, all of the pressure, I think we can all agree that all of the pressure tonight is on Golden State.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I feel like Houston has the momentum. They're the bigger team. They're the younger team. They're the faster team.
And they're at home.
And they're at home.
There you go.
And they've got a halfway decent coach.
And that's
Halfway
going
decent.
They have a great coach that,
I know.
that came from somewhere.
Yeah, I know exactly who the coach was.
And
I was role playing that one.
and to be brutally honest, this is
come
a
Boston.
there you go.
Say that
And
again, she.
and this is a Houston team where they can thwart Ant's plan of going up against Curry. In fact, I'm gonna just throw that in a wrench because he wants to face Curry in the next round.
He doesn't want to face anybody who's going to, because if he did, he would have closed out LeBron.
Right.
For 11, you didn't close
that
out.
Minnesota-Houston series would be a very entertaining
It would be.
series too.
Yeah, because it's a basically even.
It is.
It's an even matchup because
It is.
because you talk about
Both
Steven
teams-
Adams, you got Rudy Gobert.
both teams
Because
have size.
and then Alfred Sengun, you got Julius Randle, who's gonna be on you.
Yep.
Mike Conley, he's gonna be on Van Fleet.
Van Fleet.
Jalen Green, well, Ant, you got to eat.
Ant gonna kill Jalen Green.
Is he?
Well, if Ant, you got easy work. If you literally got barbecue chicken with Jalen Green. Dylan Brooks, well,
Dylan Brooks versus
McDaniels.
McDaniels gonna shut him down.
No, yeah,
No. They ain't gonna put. They gonna put Dylan Brooks on Ant-Man. Watch. They gonna put
Okay,
Dylan
they will,
Brooks
but
on
he's still
Ant-Man.
gonna light up. He's still gonna light up Dylan
Yeah.
Brooks. Dylan Brooks is not athletic enough to keep up with that. His feet are not quick enough to keep up with Ant-Man. They should put Thompson on Ant-Man. If you
Right.
wanna put someone on Ant-Man, that's who you want to put on him because he has the physical gifts to keep up with.
Oh yeah.
If they
yeah.
put Dylan Brooks over there, he's gonna get lit up. Yeah.
Well,
I would give Minnesota the advantage, but we're all saying Golden State's gonna lose this game.
yeah. I'm saying the same thing. I cannot see Golden State after losing and blowing a 3-1 lead and got to go play Game 7 on the road against this young team that's bigger than they are and faster than they are. That's gonna be, and that place is gonna be rocking.
Because I believe the winner of this game 7, I think they played Tuesday.
That's true.
When is OKC and Denver's first game?
Tomorrow.
Now, I'm gonna tell you this right now,
What you gonna predict, brother?
okay?
Battle of
Out
the
of
MVP
respect-
candidates.
Out of respect for Jokic, I'll say OKC in 6. OKC is gonna run Denver up and down the floor, and they're gonna wear out And my man for Denver, they don't go that deep off their bench.
They don't.
They gonna need their bench against Oklahoma because Oklahoma gonna run them off. Oklahoma run 8, 9 man deep, and all they do is run,
Up and down the court.
run.
Yeah.
So, out of respect for Jokic, I say OKC in 6,
Ooh.
and that's just because of Jokic, nothing else. Because of Jokic,
Okay, the more
So
interesting
Jokic
question-
counts for a game.
Jokic may count for 2 games.
Okay.
Okay, so
But-
Now, now the next question becomes: just since Westbrook was an actual factor
that's where I was going.
in this series, do you do the same mistake and just let him be open in the corner for?
Yeah. I mean, hey, you got to consistently. I mean, look, you got a choice. You gonna leave
Oh,
Jamal
no.
Murray open,
Oh,
or you gonna leave Westbrook open?
Thank you.
You gonna leave Westbrook open?
Westbrook history shows that he's not
They
going
need
to
to
stay
be
hot.
open. Okay.
He will go through these. He did it for 3-4 games. He will go through these bouts of making shots. You'll be convinced that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then reality is going to set in.
Right.
So if he can have a playoff run where he's consistently making his three, then good luck. You're gonna beat us. But until then, I know Murray's gonna beat me. I know
Jokic,
the big dude,
Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr. is gonna beat us.
Aaron Gordon.
Has made some shots. I'm gonna let Westbrook beat me.
I put it
Literally, we were leaving Brown open, and that was
I put it
working.
to you. I put it to you like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
make shots.
yeah.
See, I put it to you like this here. This is why when you look at OKC, right? You look at Jamal Murray. Okay. We putting Dork on Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that should be a shutdown right there.
When you look at Gordon, right? We put one of the Williams boys with Gordon. Okay? So OKC can match up where they need to match up and force Jokic to have to put up 35, 40 a game. You see what I'm saying? If they can contain Jamal, if they can contain Gordon, right? Michael Porter is going to come down to Michael Porter and Jokic. Okay? That's what it's going to come down. Jokic, OKC has Hardenstein. They got Holmgren, right? You can't put Holmgren on Jokic. You're too light in the ass.
Yes.
So you can't do that. So it's got to be Hardenstein. Hardenstein got to stay out of foul trouble.
Yes.
Because otherwise, Holmgren is going to have to step up to the plate. Like, you're going to have to double team on Jokic if you have Holmgren on him. You're going to have to double team off of Westbrook probably when he's in the game. Because I think the starter, I believe, is Brown.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you something else, too. I'm looking at the Boston, New York series.
Boston gets that in 5.
No joke.
What you say about that here?
I'm gonna say this, and like I said, I told Hugh, I think it was last week, that Boston might not lose a game until the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, and it was good that you guys let Orlando get a game. Okay.
Yep.
And you play the extra game. You got Tatum's wrist, you got Brown's knee, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? New York, truthfully speaking, New York shouldn't have beat Detroit.
They shouldn't. Detroit handed them 2 games.
Literally
The
two.
refs
took away one.
refs handed them one game.
Oh, yeah, refs took away 1 game, but
Detroit handed them the other 2.
Yes.
But the Detroit really handed them game
Oh my
6.
God, that game was.
I'm like, you up 7 points with like a little bit over 2 minutes
Cunningham
left.
missed 3 left-handed layups, and they were bad misses.
Yeah.
and then you also had the Malik Beasley. He had 2 costly turnovers and 2 game-winning situations
Yeah.
where literally slips through his hands. Butterfingers.
Yep.
So if New York struggled,
Oh, that's a flagrant.
if New York struggled like they did against Detroit, and they came that close to playing Game 7. They came that close to blowing a 3-1 lead. Okay, if they struggled like that against Detroit, man, what? Because I already know what Boston gonna do. Between
New York
Holiday,
knows what Boston's gonna do.
between Holiday, White, Brown, they got so many people they can put on Brunson and wear his little ass out.
Yeah.
Okay? And if they take Brunson out of it,
They're
that's it.
Yeah, they're done.
And plus, Boston, they're gonna make New York pay for having that small rotation. They're gonna make them pay. They're gonna tire them out.
Yeah, Tibbs don't use his bench either. And the thing about it is, when you look at Tatum and Brown, let's say one of them have an off game. Well, they got others. I ain't even mentioned Pritchard.
Pritchard's the 6th man of the year.
I ain't mentioned Pritchard. But I tell you who wish I tell you if they could have Pritchard, they would take him with open arms. The Lakers. But
Yeah.
Pritchard
Yeah, better Austin Reeves.
is a big key for that team. He anchors, crazy as that, Pritchard anchors that bench.
They actually run plays for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, every time I'm like, there's times I cheer against Boston. Sometimes I cheer against Boston. And everybody's focused on Tatum and Brown. Here come Pritchard, especially at the end of the quarter. Pritchard from half court. Oh! You know what I'm saying? It's like, with Boston, it's like choose your poison. With Boston, it's like choose your poison. And like I say, the bracket that I played over at the American Legion, right? Everybody piggybacking off me, right? Who you got to, if Cleveland and Boston play, who you got? Who you got? Right? I said, I got Boston.
Come on, Halliburton.
I said, I got Boston. I said, yeah. Well, why you got Boston? I said, number one, I said, Cleveland, it'll be the first time they went to the conference finals since LeBron. Okay? Mitchell has got to, I've seen Mitchell fade
Thank you.
in these big games and stuff. I've seen Mitchell fall off. Ain't nobody in Boston falling off.
And right now, I wouldn't be worried about Cleveland if they're playing like this against Indiana. And
Indiana, you have put some respect on Indiana's team.
and
Indiana can take Cleveland.
and Halliburton without his dad's distraction, back him up. He out here focus on ball. And they up by 2 right now with about 6 minutes left in the fourth.
Well, my comment on the potential Cleveland-Boston matchup, Boston was the prototype for Cleveland. And they do it better than Cleveland. Everybody in Boston can shoot. Some people in Cleveland can shoot.
That's my point.
Yeah, so there's no position where Cleveland gets a break versus Boston.
Nimbrand did not just make that shot.
Jared Allen is not going to shoot a 3. I'm not convinced Mobley can make a 3 consistently. Scrooge has shown you in Miami, I'm hit or miss. So I'm like, yeah. I like the Boston. And Boston is the champ. So they know what it takes to win the game.
Plus,
Boston's too deep.
That's it. That's it.
And honestly, I have more faith in Indiana coming out of this than I do at Cleveland.
Well, you know what? I mean, Indiana did make the conference finals last year, and they gave Boston all they wanted. So even if it was Indiana and Boston again this year, that's going to be a hell of a series
That's it.
too.
All of them good. All of them good.
And Halliburton got
Yes.
hurt in that series.
Yes, he
he missed a couple of games. So, I mean, I'm just looking at it. I'm looking at this, and you got Boston, New York. You got Indiana, Cleveland. I would not be surprised if Indiana won this series. But it's good. But like I said, this is what I was talking about with Cleveland. Okay. Now, spotlight is on y'all. Y'all had the #1 seed, best record, all of that. Y'all got the spotlight.
How is Wayne
Okay.
Brand making these shots?
Indiana, I'm telling you, Indiana's undercover, man.
Right,
a lot of
right.
people don't talk about Indiana. But, you know, I've watched enough of their games to where they could be a problem.
Nah, in fact, he just made three pointers in a row. This second one, Lizzie had doing his face. You see, he just said, "Watch me."
Well, listen, let us take a ID break for a moment, brother.
Okay.
And we'll be right back at the most wonderful time of the season, y'all. The
Lakers
Laker
in Cancun,
fans,
yes.
the Laker haters are very happy this season. Who would have thought they would have went out in the first round? Did you? Oh, raise your hand.
Everybody.
Oh,
I
wanted that
everybody.
Minnesota
picked
You
matchup.
called
I
it.
picked
wanted
it. The
that
prophet
Minnesota
picked
You
it.
matchup.
called it. Everybody called this. I heard a few people said the Lakers are not big, and that did it. That did it. Let's do this ID, brother. Appreciate you, brother.
Hanging out with Johnny and Cheryl. Johnny and Cheryl. I'm hanging out with Cheryl.
Oh, that's fair.
Johnny and Cheryl.
Yeah.
We're hanging. Johnny and Cheryl. 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 Hanging. Oh.
They got so
Johnny and Cheryl. Cheryl and Johnny. Johnny and Cheryl. Cheryl and Johnny. Johnny and Cheryl.
Hello, my name is Robert Malik. I'm a member of the Earl Gardner Veterans Group. We're a veterans group that helps veterans get service-connected compensation. We say, are you a veteran of the U.S. military? Then get benefits and financial compensation. Did you serve during the Vietnam, Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan wars, or even the Korean War or World War II? You can act now. You are suffering from PTSD and you need counseling. You are losing VA benefits because you are eligible for financial compensation. Come to a PTSD meeting of vets to find out what you're missing. We meet 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays. Where? At the Inglewood Community Center, 2640B Imperial Highway, directly across from the U.S. Post Office at the corner of Crenshaw and Imperial. Or call 323-291-1517 or 323-559-8196. We're here to help. We're veterans helping veterans. Thank you.
Dr. Sebi was a world-renowned herbalist who cured many diseases with his holistic approach to nutrition and herbs over the last 50-plus years. Dr. Sebi formulated African biomineral herbal products that cleanse and nourish the body on a cellular level. His products, in conjunction with his nutritional guide, support the body's natural ability to regenerate and heal. Dr. Sebi proved that his formulas can reverse disease. And in 1988, through the state of New York Supreme Court, Dr. Sebi's products were classified as natural vegetation cell food by Lancaster Labs. Dr. Sebi believed that the root cause of all disease was mucus. Thus, disease manifests itself in the body where mucus has accumulated. Disease only lives in an acidic environment. Dr. Sebi's products help cleanse the body by extracting mucus, and they nourish the body by providing minerals and nutrients on a cellular level. His nutritional guide promotes an alkaline environment in the body to support the healing process and achieve optimum health. None of this information is intended to replace any program that your medical doctor has prescribed for you. You may contact them at 310-838-2490. That's 310-838-2490. Their hours are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., and their lunch hour is from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. Visit the website at www.drsabiscellfood.com for more information.
All right, thank you, Makai. I appreciate it. That's my grandson laying it down. He's a San Antonio fan. He's sitting down, probably watching the game also.
Oh, speaking of San Antonio.
But anyway, more on Dr. Sabi. That address is 2807 South La Cienega. That's one street light west of La Cienega Boulevard in Los Angeles, California. So get over there. Let them know what's going on with you. And don't forget, let them know where you got this information from. It's from the Gospel Hours with Johnny and Cheryl, or everybody together.
Cheryl and
Cheryl and
Johnny.
Johnny.
Appreciate y'all for doing that. So don't forget, let them know what's up. Okay, we're going to continue to do our little debate. I have a couple of questions I want to shoot out to my panel because I think I have assembled the best in Laker haters country here. I think I have.
Oh, you should have.
I have the number one Laker hater. His name is,
Van Douglas.
he is the number one Laker hater. I also have
Hugh from Boston.
And Mo Punches from Carson.
my engineer is in the cut. He's a Clipper fan. We're going to touch up on that in a few minutes also. He's in the cut back there, keeping everything in check. Everything you hear, everything that sounds good coming through the radio is coming from our engineer. We really appreciate it. His name is Rashid. So I'm Johnny. I'm the producer. I'm kicking back, just throwing some things at these guys and let them, elaborate on them because they are very good. I like what I see in them. And we've been around for a while, 15, 16 years doing that. So let's resume the show. I'm going to throw another question out. I got to get back into the Laker land right quick. I need to go
Can I
back
make a
to
prediction
that.
about
Even though
the-
we scattering around talking about the other team, but I'm really serious about the Laker Nation mentality. They don't seem to want to talk to anybody. I called my friend in St. Louis. He don't even want to speak up on it anymore. Are you all getting a lot of that?
Derek, who
Are
said
y'all-
that they're going to be 7 winning.
Call,
Lakers
I
in
want
7.
y'all to call some names. Put some of y'all friends on the spot. Talk bad
Okay.
I
about
got
them.
a partner of mine. I was going through the shorts on the YouTube, and it showed Ant-Man after they closed him out.
Okay.
And they was going out to eat and stuff, and Ant-Man was talking big shit. He was like, they said the Lakers in 5, then they said Lakers in 7. And this Laker fan was screaming something at Ant-Man. And he said, hey, Ant-Man said, hey, go hang your jersey up until next season. And I sent that video to my partner, Jimmy, who's a Laker fan, right? Oh, he said, oh man, you wasn't talking when Kansas City lost. I said, I took all calls when Kansas City lost.
In the Super Bowl, though.
In the Super Bowl. I said, but we was in the Super Bowl when we lost. Y'all been the first round. And oh man, Laker fans get sensitive.
They do.
Yeah, they are.
They talk all that shit during the year. Yeah, Luka.
We got Luka.
And we got Luka, and we on this, see that. I just calmly tell them, they was blowing me up. I just said, wait till the playoffs. I said, wait till the playoffs. Now, we talking about the playoffs, as Allen Iverson say, practice. We talking about practice.
Right.
I'm like, playoffs. I'm talking about playoffs.
I'm a basketball.
Okay? What's LeBron's record? The last 3 years? 2-12.
Wow.
Yep.
2-12.
That's true. Yeah.
2 and 12.
He
2 and
got
12.
got swept and 2 gentlemen sweeps. Yep. Absolutely.
So I'm like, LeBron, Rod Parker said, LeBron, your legacy right now is taking a hit. Jordan never went through a stretch when he was 2-12 in the playoffs.
They
So that'll change that GOAT narrative for a while.
Well,
It
change
puts it
that
to
up.
bed to me.
Okay.
Well, the counter that Nick Wright tried to develop is that Michael came back and played for Washington, and Washington didn't ever make the playoffs. And I'm like, if you understand context, Michael didn't come back with the belief that he's going to make Washington a championship contender. He came back to play, and honestly, first season would have had him in the playoff if Popeye Jones hadn't bumped into his knee. But even then, he understood what was going to happen with Washington. LeBron is trying to put together teams to win rings. Michael had 6. LeBron's trying to get to 6. And so, yeah, even though if you say, hey, at the same age, this is LeBron, whatever, Yeah, but at the same age, you're still trying to say the longevity argument is why LeBron is the greatest. And I'm like, if he can't win on longevity, he's not going to win on any other merit. So yeah, the GOAT debate is over. Let's say if you hey, Michael Bubba, well, you had Luka Doncic, one of the top 5 players in the game. You and Austin Reeves, if you look at his plus minus, is top 50. So you have 3 of the top 50 players, 2 of the top 5 supposedly, and you can't get out of the first round.
Good point.
Well,
So I'm like, okay.
I got one even better for you. One, the only one I really give LeBron credit for is, even though they lost when they got there, but when they first time Cleveland went to the finals,
Okay.
and LeBron had a hell of a playoff run. He took out Detroit and the guys before San Antonio swept them. But if you look at who was on that San Antonio team, Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, Robinson was gone by then, I think. But look who it did. I mean, it was LeBron James and nobody else. You can't even name
Boobie Gibson.
Boobie Gibson. Okay,
Big
outside
Z and Anderson Varejao. I know that
Okay,
whole team. I
okay.
can name the team.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
So here's my counter to that, by the way. Okay. Why didn't Detroit, if the only thing on that team is LeBron, why did Detroit allow LeBron to beat them? Because all San Antonio did was like, here, LeBron, you can have whatever shot you want outside of 15 feet. And Detroit, a team full of veterans, couldn't figure that out.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened in that series. Detroit got to where they couldn't even make a shot. Chauncey went cold, Rip went cold, and then they had Tayshaun Prince. See, Detroit has made 2 big draft mistakes. That Darko trade when they could have, pick when they could have had Carmelo Anthony,
And they went with Dr. Miller.
but they didn't. They didn't draft Carmelo because they had Prince there, right?
Built for the future.
But my thing is, the Darko pick is what killed them.
That era, yes.
Yes. So now you look at Rip went cold, Sean, they all went cold around the same time. And what's his name? Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace is the perfect, if you want to say, garbage man. He protects the rim, he rebounds, but he ain't gonna give you no points, right? So Detroit's scoring was limited, and they didn't have anyone that could come off the bench and light up the scoreboard, you know. See, the old Pistons with Isaiah, Dumars,
And microwave.
and Vinny, the microwave,
Bad boys.
okay? See, they never went cold. And then you have Lambeer with the tippy-toe jumper. And then Hugh balled his fists up when I said Lambeer.
No, I didn't. But I'll never like him.
No one in Boston ever
No
liked
one
him.
in Boston likes Lambeer. That's why I say Hugh
it
balled
this
his
No one
way.
in the
fists up.
NBA likes no one outside of Detroit
Right.
likes Lambeau. Let's
Right.
qualify. No one outside Detroit
Right,
likes Lambeau.
right.
Yeah.
Put it this way, I could appreciate Draymond Green if he were on my team. I could not appreciate Bill Lambier at all.
Lambeer was the best, man.
Man, it was
He
so
would piss
funny
you
between the back and forth between Boston and Lambeer was classics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It takes Johnny Most, the late Johnny Most. I hate Bill Lambeer.
I'm trying to remember what he used to, what was it? McFilthy and McDirty?
Yeah,
I forget whom they were, but they were part of the
Lambeer and Mahorn.
Okay. Oh, yes.
But
absolutely
okay,
right.
so the point you make about so now I can if the argument is that Detroit could make shots, but that kind of points to what happened in the nature of the East, which is why LeBron has made the NBA Finals 10 times or had made the NBA Finals 10 times, because the East had been basically relieved of its star power. Michael Jordan came to the East and ran everybody over to the West. Shaq went to the West, Chuck went to the West. And so you had your best team was that Detroit team until Boston put together 3, if you want to call them legends, and it was really and a rookie point guard who was pretty good. So until Boston came through, that was nothing much in the East. And so LeBron basically could go run to it was kind of like what the West was when Magic joined the league, because in the West there was really nothing except the Lakers, and the East was filled with three teams that were always fighting it out. You had Philly, you had Boston, and you had Detroit came up. So and eventually Chicago. So that dynamic kind of flipped, and LeBron kind of went through. So I'm not gonna knock Popovich for being a smart coach. The one thing I would knock him is not being smart enough, because he should have kept LeBron from another championship, because he should have kept Duncan in the game, the one championship that LeBron beat San Antonio. Because when he took them out and they got that offensive rebound, and you had Big Booty Boy in there who can't jump, and Duncan is one of your better rebounders, and Ray Allen ended up winning that game.
Well,
so
I'm gonna put it to you like this here, okay? When you look at LeBron, right? And people want to say, "Oh, he's the GOAT," right? People that say he's the GOAT. I asked them this question: what are you basing it on? The guy has lost 6 times in the finals. He's 2-12 the last 3 years in the playoffs. Can we associate those numbers with Jordan? Can we associate those numbers with Kobe? Can we associate those numbers with Bird? Can we associate those numbers with Magic? Okay? No, you can't. Okay? Bird has never went through a stretch in the playoffs where he was 2-12.
Okay.
Magic's never done it. Isaiah's never done it. Who did I miss? Kobe has never done it. So if you're gonna say he's the GOAT, the only way you gonna say it is gotta be the longevity. Because it ain't about what happened on the court.
This is Hugh from Boston. I look at LeBron a little differently, particularly with this fascination with 6. Everybody, he's trying to beat. Didn't Robert Horry get 6 championships?
Robert Horry got 7.
7. Yeah. So LeBron's not as good as Robert Horry.
except that
No, Robert Horry was a role player.
yes.
I understand that, but he still was a winner.
I won't argue that, but the league has anointed Michael Jordan the best of the near past, and so LeBron is trying to overcome, basically reach that mountain. And so it's cool to just do numbers if you're going to do that, but performance should also count. So yeah, he won 6 rings, but he performed to win those 6 rings. When I'm handing the ball to Kyrie to win a series for me, when I'm handing the ball to Ray Allen to get me back into a series, LeBron has had some series where he's had spectacular numbers and his team has been routed.
Well, the thing that, and like I said, I watched basketball in the 80s, right? When Jordan first came in the league in 84, he had to pay his dues. When he came in 84, it was Doc, it was Boston, Doc,
Isaiah,
Bird, Boston,
yeah.
Isaiah,
Yeah.
Magic,
Yeah.
right? He wasn't coming in and beating them. Okay? That wasn't happening. Jordan didn't break through until all them guys I just named got old.
Right, and Jordan also had to learn how to share the ball and
Yeah.
rely on his teammates, and that made a big difference.
That's where Phil Jackson kicked in at. That's why Chicago fired Doug Collins and brung in Phil Jackson. And one of the first things that Phil Jackson did when he went to Jordan, and he said, you have to trust your teammates. You have to trust your teammates. Okay? You can't care. You can average 50 a game, but you're gonna lose. You ain't gonna win nothing.
Well,
And that's what he was doing with Doug Collins.
Well, that's the Hugh from Boston. That's my complaint about Kobe. He could have been so much better if he relied on his teammates and made them better.
Well,
but he never could do that.
in fairness to Kobe, I know where you like when they lost to Detroit in the finals, when they lost to Ben Wallace and them. Kobe shot him out that series. Shaq, Detroit had no answer for Shaq, but Kobe, too, referencing your point, Kobe was a ball hog and he shot him out the series. And my thing is, and like I say, Shannon Sharp, you know, go James, go James, go James. So if you're gonna say that, like I say, it's the only thing you say, okay, longevity. But as far as overall winning, he ain't the GOAT.
Well, let's
Well,
look at
you
it.
from Boston. Who do you think the GOAT is, man?
The GOAT is Jordan. Because the reason I say that is because, like everybody, or LeBron trying to get 6, right? So even if you did get 6, which you ain't gonna get 2 titles playing with the Lakers. So the reason I say that, Jordan's never lost in the finals.
Yes.
So that keeps him
That's
out there
where-
by himself.
This is Hugh from Boston. You're correct, but I'd have to say that Bill Russell.
I knew
Well,
that was
mean-
coming.
And Mo
I
knew
knew that
this
was
was
coming. I
coming.
knew that was coming.
You know
Now,
what?
Bill Russell won 11 out of 13.
You know,
And one of those, they were in the finals and he got injured. So I just don't see anybody better
well, I'm
with an
gonna say, I'm gonna
objective
say
of winning
this
the
here.
series.
I'm gonna say this here. Wilt Chamberlain made a statement. You know, I watch a lot of YouTube and all of that. But Wilt Chamberlain made a statement about Bill Russell, and it was very complimentary. As many times as they done faced each other in the finals, faced each other to get out the East, he said, Bill Russell had so much help around him. He had way more help around him than I had around me. Right?
Correct, but Bill Russell made the players around him better because
Yeah.
he fed them the ball, he depended on them, he could do whatever needed to be done.
So I
And I know you hit me with the, and I know you've been a fan since the 80s, but I'd have to honestly say I've been a fan since Bill Russell started in the 50s.
Well, yeah.
And saw
so
them play.
So, you know, I mean, you go back to those days, Russell, Mike, and Wilt. You know, I caught Wilt at the tail end of his career, like in the early 70s. I was a kid watching Wilt, Jerry West, Goodrich, Happy Harrison, and I was a Laker fan then. Because and the reason that I got off of the Lakers, and I got off the Lakers when Magic and them was winning. Because I didn't like how the game was going. It was this politics slowly started creeping into it. And it wasn't really basketball anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're trying to market this guy, you're trying to market this guy, right?
That's
and
all
you
they
guys are
have, bro.
cheating. You got all this stuff. When you hear all this stuff with the officials and this and that, how did they blow that call? How did they blow this? Or how did they do that? And then you got Tim Donaghy, who got caught. As far as I'm concerned, when Donaghy got caught, they all got caught because it's still going on.
Yeah, but the NBA had a real problem in the early 80s. I mean, that's what Magic and Bird did to them.
Well, I
Because
give them.
they rescued the game. Because in the 70s, they were having all kinds of bad publicity with the drugs, with everything else, as well as the rest. Everything.
Well,
everything was
will-
going down.
I will always agree with the fact that Magic and Bird saved the league, because when Magic and Bird came into the league, the viewership went way up. But I want to throw another name out there, and I don't think that he gets his just due. Julius
Irving.
the Doctor
Yes.
Irving.
Yep.
Julius the Doctor Irving if you combine his career points, he didn't even play. He played what, about 7, 8 years in the ABA before he came to the NBA?
Well, I was going to say Hugh from Boston. That's what I was going to say. His problem was that he played for the ABA,
Yeah,
whereas Bird and Magic, it started in college.
yeah.
And the publicity came through the whole tournament in college and everything else. It was
I
just
remember-
meant to be, shall we say.
I remember going to a few Laker Philly games back in the day when Doc was still playing. He was playing Kareem and Magic and them. Literally, you are in the parking lot and people are honking their horn, giving, hurry up and park. God, hurry up and park. We're trying to go see the doctor. Okay? I mean, Julius Erving had that.
Oh, absolutely. But he spent so much time in the ABA.
Exactly.
The people didn't realize it. The publicity wasn't there.
Yeah.
And to be honest, those were his better years. I won't say his best,
Could you
but his
imagine?
better years.
Could you imagine Dr. J and his popularity if he was popular back then?
Yes, sir.
Could you
Yes, sir.
imagine his popularity if he played today, the way they cover the league?
Well, as you said earlier, he'd be in the running for the best ever.
Yeah.
No question about it.
So my friend from Carson, I think the argument, in order to qualify, I think this nixes the argument. I'm not going to get into the Russell because I could talk about Bill, but I like Bill, so I'm not going to get into the
No, you
argument.
can get into it.
No, I'm
Nothing
good. I'm
personal.
good. Because it's more important that I embarrass the Lakers. So anyway,
Well, that's true.
so here I go. So I don't know how the Laker legend that's LeBron James qualifies as the greatest of all time if he's not the greatest of his era. Because he played one player 4 times and lost to that player 3 times. So if I lost to one player 3 out of 4 times I played him in the finals, how am I the best of all time?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this.
Let the people know who that one player is, man.
That would be Mr. Waddell Stephon Curry.
Thank you, sir.
That's the
And by the way, Draymond handed him the one victory he got because Draymond couldn't keep his feet to himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this here. The babyface assassin.
Yes.
That is Steph Curry.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he better come through tonight.
I have seen Curry. Don't ball your fists up, Hugh.
No, I ain't.
No fighting on my
Yeah.
panel, y'all.
Remember
Boston
when?
series, yeah.
Remember when they went to Boston
Yeah.
and they beat Boston,
Yeah.
and I think the clinching game, Curry, or was it the 6-7 game 6 or
Game 6.
okay?
Game 6.
Curry went into TD Garden and put damn near 50 points up on the Celtics
Put him to sleep.
and get it to
Put 'em to
game 7.
I thought they won.
Or
in
was
6.
it they won in 6?
They won in 6.
He came in there, he was on fire. Okay? And I'm like, that's why I start saying every time he busts a 3, I'd be like, Curry! Okay.
But you don't have to go that far back because even last year, Team USA was very happy when Steph made it to
He saved
France.
their ass.
He saved, and people, he didn't do anything in the preliminary rounds. They're the preliminary rounds. You need them. In the gold medal rounds, he beat Serbia. He beat France in France. Rudy Gobert and Wemby were cursing, and Batum. So they knew what was coming.
So he should have been MVP.
He should have been. Look, let's put it. He may not have been MVP, but LeBron damn sure shouldn't have been MVP.
Well,
Again.
I
So,
mean-
like I said, if a dude beats you 3 out of 4 times,
Right,
you're not the best of your era. How are you the best of all time?
Good
That's
point.
the end of the GOAT debate.
Yeah.
Even if he wins another, I played you 3 out of 4 times. I personally beaten you. I played you 4 times. I personally beaten you 3 of those 4 times. I am better than you.
Right.
So how are you better than that dude when I'm not even considered for the best of all time? It doesn't. The LeBron arguments make no sense. Ultimately, keep him on your team because the Lakers are going nowhere as long as there's no COVID. They're going nowhere.
This-
And I'm going to be very happy about this.
This is Hugh from Boston. I just wanted to ask the panel, what do we think, where are the Lakers going in the next 3 or 4 years, the way they are right now? Do they have
If
a chance?
nobody-
at
But they
anything?
need help.
If
That's one
nobody
thing.
if nobody does anything stupid,
Okay.
like feed him another superstar,
Right.
they in trouble.
But that's going to happen. I mean,
Thank you.
this is their culture.
Yeah, so the NBA has a way of saying. I mean, Kobe got Gasol. You know, the only
But it's
trade
got to be
that-
obvious.
Guess who
the only
pulled
trade
that
that was
off?
Right,
blocked
right.
was the Chris Paul trade, which I now looking at Chris Paul's history probably would have hurt the Lakers more than it helped them.
Well, I'm
He
gonna
didn't-
say
he still
this.
didn't get
I'm gonna say
anything.
this here. When Kobe got Gasol, and this is another reason why I sour on the Lakers. I really sour on Jeannie Buss. Okay. First of all, you don't know nothing about running a basketball team. The guy that was there, that was making the decisions and running stuff like Jerry West. God rest his soul. Jerry West. Jerry West put together countless and countless of championships for the Lakers
Yes,
in the executive role.
I love Jerry West, but that would be one reason why I don't want to say it. But man, could you go work for someone else? Golden State, by the way, he also put together that team.
He put together
yeah.
that team.
Yeah, he put together that team. So that's another 4 championships. The grinded out Memphis teams, he put those teams together.
Right,
So-
absolutely.
So Jerry West is he's a basketball genius.
Because
As to an
hate it.
as to an executive.
As
He
to
was a
executive. He
good
was
player,
a basketball
but I
genius
will-
as a player too. So he's
Yeah,
the
but
logo.
he-
Yeah.
But you don't
As far
have to
as
say
I
that.
remember, he can't even look at a green thing.
I just know that Bill Russell isn't the logo.
That's true. But
That's all
I'll
I
tell you another thing. He probably should be the logo.
I'm just saying, what the reality is, Jerry
Yeah.
West is the logo.
I understand that. Doesn't mean it's right. Just means it
It
happened.
is what it is. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Let's not forget, Bill Russell was a player coach too.
He was.
He coached
Yep.
and played.
Yeah.
Well, that was the
That was a
that
cool-
was the seasons that he. Well, no, he lost one round to Auerbach when he was hurt, but that's why he lost the other one. It was his rookie year as the coach.
All right. So before we start to wrap it up, we got about like 17 minutes left in the show. Johnny wanted to do something real funny.
Compliment the Lakers.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh
all,
Lord, no.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
all
so-
Laker haters
Can't
too.
do it.
So we got these memes that are right here. One meme in particular, how LA have Rudy Gobert looking? Like prime Kevin Garnett.
That meme's wrong. Like prime Shaquille O'Neal.
Right.
Punch from Carson. That meme needs to be updated.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be updated.
Okay,
Like, he was
okay.
prime Shaq, not prime Garnett.
Oh.
Want to read that?
Oh no.
When you want to read that?
Wrong.
Oh,
That is wrong.
Would you want to read that? Somebody please read that.
When you're at a Diddy party and you already took your term in the Maze outfit, so now you got the whistle. You're on the court as a rep. Goodness. Oh, potential
Potential
fraud.
fraud.
The Lakers, so apt. That wasn't a potential fraud, by the way. So that's wrong. It was an absolute fraud. Anyone who knows basketball, don't listen to Nick Wright. Do not listen to Shannon Sharp.
Okay, here we go. Watch
Those
this.
guys are fans. They're not analysts.
Come on.
Okay, sleep at a reasonable time. Yay, stay up till 2 a.m. Lakers fans, Eastern Standard Time. Okay. All right, what's this one? Is that a meme?
That's Nico.
I don't see the line for the meme. Is that a statement or is that a meme?
I think that's a statement.
What is it?
What?
Okay, Mark Spears says Jaylen Brown is the reason the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic away because they saw reality. I'm gonna read this. Yeah, you should be able to talk on this. What he did to Luka in the finals, shutting him down, guarding him full court, making it unbearably offensively, led Dallas to question Luka as the leader of the team and question whether he was in shape or not. You didn't have to question if Luka was in shape. He was in
already
shape.
knew
He
that.
was
We
in shape.
already
He was
know.
a 0, but he was in shape.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, it's like Luka wasn't fit. All right, here we go. Lakers fan experience. Oh boy, am I excited to watch my favorite team play? And then I'm going to kill myself for the majority of this, and it's for a little bit. Nice, we won. Yeah, that's the Laker roller coaster, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah,
That sounds like us too, but yeah.
yeah. Well, James Harden makes that known.
Save 5 minutes for you guys, okay?
Okay.
We need
All
5.
right, Luka Lakers versus Jazz meme. I don't know how to. when you're guarding LeBron, then Luka subs in for him. Oh, what do you want me to do? Yeah, I'm not gonna say the first word.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's
I
not
guess
even
Gordon is
That-
Luka.
That's not even Luka.
Yeah, I guess Gordon is Luka. Okay, LeBron and Luka heading to practice together. Sure. They were so happy to have that tandem. Yeah.
I got to make a comment. Here he is in his leather jacket.
But
The GM who never grew up.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the coach that never grew up.
Yeah, and this is what Rob Pelinka, who's what? This is what 8 years as
2017.
yeah.
I want to know, how is it that Pelinka doesn't take any heat?
Why is
Well-
Jimmy Butler? So this is the Luka Doncic trade meme. The NBA community loves the Luka Doncic trade. The Fox trade is going unnoticed, even though he's going underwater. And the Jimmy Butler trade
It's underwater.
Yeah, it's underwater.
Right.
So-
Because literally, okay, to that, okay, how do I explain this? So,
It went under the radar.
yeah, it definitely went under the radar because nobody expected the Warriors to turn around their season the way they did once Jimmy Butler got to the Warriors.
No one
They-
expected Golden State to
did.
win two more games than the Lakers did.
I did. I'll tell you why. Because Butler can not only share in doing the dirty work with Draymond, but he could also score. Right? And it took pressure off of Steph. Where Steph ain't got to handle the ball, constantly bring the ball up. Either Butler or Pachinski could have bring the ball up, and it's a little less wear and tear on Curry.
But the thing that goes unnoticed is Butler's ability to draw fouls. And so
That
now you get an extra 6-8 points because once you get into the bonus, Steph is a 93% free throw shooter. And so where that's a skill, he could never use that skill because you weren't getting into the penalty. So it did totally change the nature of the Golden State team. And again, experts should have realized that, and they did not. So
Well, the experts realized it. The Laker fans didn't.
are we talking about the Butler trade or the? Because
okay.
Are you talking about the Luka trade? Because I can agree with you because yeah, that means Shannon Sharp and Nick Wright are not analysts; they're Laker fans.
Yeah,
Yes, and in that case, and even Colin Cowherd to a certain extent.
yeah.
You guys are paid to analyze sports, but what you're showing is you're just fans. So
Yeah.
you cannot be trusted in your analysis.
Well, Cowherd has been on quiet since they lost.
And he should be because he's an idiot.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I tell you what, I'm looking at, like I say, whoever wins this series, if it's Houston, Houston has a better chance of beating Minnesota than Golden State does. Because Golden State is too small. Just like the
Yes.
Lakers were too small,
Yes.
Golden State is too small.
Yes.
The team with the best chance of knocking Minnesota out.
But I agree with you, but here's the difference between Golden State, should they make it, and the Lakers. There's a guy on Golden State who will beat you behind the line. If they make it through, they're going to have to contend
I'm
with
looking at
Steph
that
Curry.
Celtics one. I'm not sure I get that.
Oh, that was in the regular season game.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was against the
Yeah, that's
Lakers.
early. Yeah.
Right.
They're all good.
That was
now.
a pact.
Y'all all good.
Okay.
Okay, read that one, Mo.
Okay, here we go. Celtics to Lakers game 2-25 means Lakers fans trying to round up the Clippers and the Celtics. They're betting on the Clippers fighting the Celtics. Oh my God.
But you'll get these silly Laker fans. You'll get these silly Laker fans that have, they were all down in the blues when they lost last week. But when the Clippers lost last night, it was like the Laker
They
fans.
feel better.
Thank God.
They feel better. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me, Hugh from Boston, let me just toss this in. Who has a better future next
Clippers.
3 years?
The Clippers.
or the Lakers?
Clippers.
Clippers.
Clippers just need to rid themselves of James Harden. I'm sorry for Clipper fans who are delusional.
Okay, I'm glad you brought it up.
Thank
Okay,
you.
this is the last 5 minutes, right? Yeah. Let's zero in on
Thank
what
you.
you're talking about, Mo.
Okay, so I was really upset with Ty Lue. I literally thought Eubanks. They had their rotation set, and I'm sitting here wondering. Once I saw Eubanks in dirt, in garbage time. Wait a minute, you had your backup center. Why were you playing Ben Simmons? And you watch Ty make these decisions. Amir Coffey has been a playoff staple for the Clippers. He couldn't make the floor because of Bogdanovich or whatever it's Bogdanovich. And so I'm like, why are you playing these guys who have not helped you? Or why are you playing Ben Simmons, who's an offensive liability and to a certain extent a defensive liability, when you have guys who can actually help you win games? Eubanks is a legit centerman in the NBA. Amir Coffey has shown he can perform. He could have helped you. He has enough size to contend with that entire front line. Bogdanovich cannot. He could have stopped Westbrook. Bogdanovich cannot. He's a defensive sieve. He's the equivalent of Luka Doncic. So, and the ultimate, which I've been asking for 2 weeks, why was Chris Dunn on the court? I do not understand why Chris Dunn was on the court.
Answer that.
Those were 3 moves I could not understand from Ty Lue.
You ain't gonna even bother.
As a coach, as a fan, I'm a better coach than you because I can see Chris Dunn is not helping you. Well, he's there to shut down Jamal Murray. Well, he didn't do a good job because Jamal Murray went off the last 3 games. So I'm
Murray
trying to
put
understand why
43
is he-
up. Murray put 43 up in what
In
was
game
that?
6?
Game 5 or 6?
Whichever one.
Okay.
Come on, Mo.
So I'm trying to understand. Now let's go to the other end. Now I'm not gonna let Norman Powell off. I have to give it to Kawhi. He survived all 7 games. He performed well. He averaged like 25, 26. So he performed very well. He didn't have a lot. That should be a foul. He didn't have a lot of help. And I know people are gonna say, look, James Harden had 13 assists. Neat. James Harden had 7 points and he didn't shoot a high percentage. He only shot, last time I saw, 8 shots.
He
I'm
had
like,
7 points in that game
He
yesterday?
had 7 points and 13 assists.
Oh,
And
my God.
here's the way I translate that. And he threw one of the dumbest passes as a point guard. When they were trying to get back in the game towards the end of the second quarter, he threw a cross-court pass, basically cross half court, that Westbrook picked off. Because you don't throw, and he went past Bogdanovich, whatever his name is, to try to hit, I think, Kawhi on the other side of the court. They teach you in high school, do not throw that pass. So the way I translate Harden's 13 assists is, I don't want any responsibility for this game. It's like a little bit better than Ben Simmons because I at least made 2 shots. But going 2 for 8 in game 7 is not
Only
that
8
impressive.
shots. Because I was at a funeral.
Yeah, that was the
yesterday,
Clippers, by the way. That was
and
the Clippers.
I didn't get a chance to
Yeah.
really focus on the Clipper game.
It was
But
a funeral,
you're
too.
telling me
Yeah.
he had 7 points
And 13
on-
assists.
on
And we
8
don't know how
shots.
many turnovers. Because
On
he had
8
a few
shots.
on 8 shots, the last report.
money. See, that's the thing about Harden. Harden did the same
In
shit
Philly.
in Philly.
Yep.
Okay, he's done it in Houston. Everywhere he's gone.
Yep.
Right. I have a suggestion for the Clippers. Go get Trae Young out of Atlanta and let him run the point. Number one, he ain't shied from.
He ain't gonna shy away
He ain't
from
gonna
shooting the
shy
ball.
away from shooting the ball. He ain't gonna shy away from big moment, and he'll have a better supporting cast with the Clippers than he does with Atlanta.
Well, I'll put it this way. James Harden history, again, and I told Rashid this earlier. I knew the Clippers were unserious about this playoff run when they went out, when Ben Simmons was on waivers and they wouldn't sign Ben Simmons. Because what happened is you push Eubanks out of your backup center. Because the only place you can play him, Ben Simmons, is at center. You can't play him anywhere else. He can't shoot. And so Eubanks, like I said, I was happy to see Eubanks on the Clippers. Like, oh, we got a backup center. And you never used them until garbage time of game 7.
Well,
So I'm like, guys, you gotta get rid of these big names and play people who make sense. You have guys on this team that are pretty solid. That is not James Harden, because I was actually shocked James Harden played relatively well for 5 out of 7 games in this series, because he's notorious for blowing up.
But he don't show up with the money on the line.
I'm not arguing that. When it counts, he's going to disappear. And game 7, my friend, the one who was a Laker fan, who said, the Lakers are going to win the championship, so you have to take what he says with a grain of salt. But at least he got this right. When it comes to the non-Laker stuff, he can kind of see it. So he says, after game 6, he's like, Harden's done his job. his body may be on the court, but he ain't gonna be there for Game 7. And that was 20 minutes after Game 6.
Yeah.
So if I'm Ty Lue, if a guy in Mississippi is telling me this, if I'm Ty Lue, why am I counting on James Harden in Game 7?
You know what? Even Kendrick Perkins said, well, he's got to break through sometimes.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
I'm
The
like,
league is littered with guys who never lived up to their potential.
How do you take only 8 shots?
2 minutes, y'all. 2 minutes.
Because he's throwing the ball. That's the way I translate his 13 assists. He does not want to shoot the ball. Because people are celebrating his 13 assists only because Kawhi probably bailed him out and Nicholas Batum bailed him out. But it's like those assists was the consequence of me not wanting to take responsibility. You have a guy on your team who does not want responsibility for the loss. And he's trying to find every way he can to not be responsible. You
2 minutes. 1 minute, y'all. One minute.
So,
Come on. What
yeah,
we got?
long story short, the Clippers need to get rid of Harden. They need to get rid of Ben Simmons. If you want to be a serious team, get rid of those two. I don't know what you're going to do with Chris Dunn. I don't know what deal was made to have Houston play, but those two have got to go.
But was you feeling about the Clippers beginning of the season about James Harden?
I didn't watch Clippers games because Harden was on the team.
Okay, then you felt that way. That's what I'm asking.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Quick
Yeah.
insert. Do you think Ty Lue should stay there as coach?
I think there's a reason why. I think he was forced to play these guys because the owner probably told him he had to play these guys. That's the way I translate that. So I think it's going to be tough. The Clippers going to be tough, hard pressed to find a better coach. If he does this again, then maybe you let him go. Because up until this season, he was known for being a good coach. I'm just sitting here like my head is hurting because I cannot understand some of the decisions you're making. And Bogdanovich, because they made that trade for Bogdanovich.
So what about the Lakers coach? Shall he come back next year?
Please let him come back. Yes, he should. JJ should be allowed to come back another year.
It'll make it
Or
bad.
I want to see him.
It'll make it bad. It'll make it
I
bad.
want to see him face the team next year of all the players he wouldn't play.
Oh boy.
Well, you know what?
We got 1 minute.
I'm going to say this. I still say the Clippers need to go get Trae Young. Put Trae Young and Kawhi together. One thing about it is, is if you put Kawhi and Trae Young together, Kawhi gonna get his. Guarantee you, Young is gonna get his. Young is a killer.
Okay. Well, that's it, folks. So let's come back next week. Heads up, I won't be here next week, so y'all got to handle
I
this.
won't be here next week either. I'll be at a graduation in Tennessee.
Okay. My two main people, y'all started this, y'all.
Okay.
You two here started this shit, man.
Okay.
Oh, we did.
If it
not.
wasn't for you two.
You started it.
No. Laker haters only.
Yeah.
Well, either way it goes, the Lakers have a 0% chance of winning the championship this
There
year.
you
So
go,
it's
right
gonna be
now,
a good.
bro.
It's gonna be a good show.
Okay, so thank you, fellas. Appreciate you. Rashid, appreciate you, brother. I have a video I'm going to send you all. Somebody just edited this and sent that to me, and then I'm going to send it to all my friends.
Yeah.
So let's get up out of here, y'all. I gotta
Get to where I'm going.
gotta go get me
watch
some
this
food.
rest of this game.
This gonna be the game here.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Thank you.
Now I got to be careful getting.